reasons for it.
Watch it, turn it, leave it, stop, format it, touch it, bring it, pay. Watch it, turn it, leave it, stop, format it, touch it, bring it, pay. Watch it, turn it, leave it, stop, format it, touch it, bring it, pay. Watch it, turn it, leave it, stop, format it.
Welcome back. Part 2. As we get into the classwork of week 6, where we were working with piecewise functions. All right, this is going to be fun. All right, let's jump into it. All right, and the last question, I ask you to consider the following. Now, if I have a piecewise function, someone asked me a question. How do I know when I'm dealing with piecewise questions? As I work, had company at the door. I was sharing with you, a person asked me, how do I know if I'm dealing with piecewise circles? And I said, very simply, we know we're dealing with piecewise circles when we have these types of inequalities. And an inequality is what? Anything that is not 100% equal, greater than or less than, or here we have greater than or equal to. Okay, so it's important that we understand piecewise functions are a result of us having inequalities. Okay, so quick review. One of the things we need to remember, these are some of the shortcuts that's going to be helpful for you to quiz. One of the things we got to remember, before we even get into identifying what the graph might look like, is we can make some decisions based on some things that we can observe. All right, so let me get my magic pen, okay? So my magic pen, I'm looking for two things, okay? So I see 2x. What does that 2x mean? That means that my slope is going to be positive. That means I'm going to have a positive slope, okay? My slope is going up. Now I see that we have a greater than or equal to. That means that my circle, all right, is going to be a closed circle. That means it's going to be inclusive. That's a terrible closed circle. I think I can do better than that next time. All right. So closed circle. Oh, I know how we do it. Do it like this. Closed circle, and then I fill it in. All right, there's a closed circle. Now, let's take a look at another possibility. Here, I circle this. All right. I see that my slope is going to be negative. So I have a negative slope here. It's going down where this one was going up. And instead of having a greater than or equal to, I have a less than. So that means that instead of having a closed circle, I'm going to have an open circle. So let me get my tools here. There we go, open circle. All right, so that's going to be super helpful as we start breaking down what these graphs look like. Okay, so let's jump into it. Let's see what our first step would be. Not surprising, I'm going to ask you to put things into your graphing calculators. By now, all of you guys should have downloaded that free app on Android, and for the iPhone, I think the app is about $4. Pretty good trade-off, guys. $4 versus $150 for the actual graphing calculator. So go ahead and make that investment. All right. So as always, we put these functions into our graphing calculator. 2x plus 3, negative x plus 2, and we analyze our table. Now the key thing to remember is everything is revolving around this negative 2. Everybody say negative 2. All right. Look at our next step. We're going to blot 2 points. All right. I like to plot easy peasy points. 0, 3. All right. 0, 3 right there. 1, 5 right there. I'm going to extend the line because -2 is where I want to focus on. Now at -2, because it's greater than or equal to, I need to have a closed circle. Closed circle. Inclusive. Enclosed circle. All right. Because at -2, this is less than, so anything less than -2 would be values like -5 or -3. Open circle. All right. This is a picture that I want you to keep in mind. This will be on the test. You need to be able to identify when we have a closed circle or a open circle. All right. Next question. Let's go. All right. Let's take a look. We have 2x plus 4. We have 6 minus x. Question. Positive slope, negative slope. All right. What do you think? All right. This is a positive slope. 2x. So our slope should be going in this direction. All right. This is a negative slope. That means our slope will be going this direction. Okay? All right. Open or closed. All right. This is less than or equal to. Less than or equal to, that means it's inclusive. We're going to need a dot. All right, we need a dot here. And actually, let's clone this. We need a dot here. So we got 2 closed dots. All right, let's go look at the other problem. All right. It's less than. Less than is not inclusive. So we're going to have an open circle. But then we have less than or equal to. That's inclusive, included. So we're going to have another dot. Let's clone that. Okay. So what am I saying? I'm saying that when we actually plot this out, we need to be generating a line that is increasing, and we have a dot here and a dot here. Whereas if we have a negative slope, all right, we need to have something that's not inclusive at 1, but inclusive at 5. Okay, so these are just some of the tricks that you want to think about as we understand these piecewise functions and how we should be identifying them on your actual questions. What's step 1, guys? Yep, we're going to select 2 points. We want easy peasy points, right? Points I would like to always select is 0s, 1s, and 2s. Okay? All right. We selected points. I'm sorry, we plugged it into our graphing calculator. We then selected points. Now we plot those points. All right, so let's take a look at what we actually have and what we predicted. All right, so we predicted that we were going to have 2 closed points going with a positive slope, and we predicted we would have an open and a closed point sloping down. And that's exactly what we got. All right. Please know the closed and the open circles for tomorrow's quiz, Wednesday's quiz. It will be very, very helpful. All right, let's go on to the next problem. All right, let's consider the following. Here we are. We're asked to match each graph with the correct function. How in the world will we do this? I'm glad you guys asked. That's why I like teaching you guys. You asked the right question. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to continue this question of closed circle, open circle, positive slope, negative slope, so we can eliminate a few things. All right, let's take a look. All right, graph A. We're considering graph A. In graph A, what do we know? we know that it is between -3, that's -3 there, all right, and we know that it is, yeah, I get that, -3, boom, and -4. We're increasing positive slope. That's a positive slope. And we also know that we probably can eliminate a few things. Well, why would we eliminate the first piecewise function? Well, because it has two positive and one negative slope. Huh. Did you guys notice that? Take a look. So if we say this is a positive slope, this is a positive slope, yeah, but this is a negative slope. Yeah. Okay. So that actually doesn't help us because here what we're doing is we're looking at no slope, no slope, positive slope. All right. So we can say that that's not going to help us. So A is not going to help us. All right. So what else could we consider? We're left with B and C. Well, we can eliminate two piecewise. So I suggested that you guys look at B. It says eliminate piecewise circle 2. Eliminate piecewise circle 2 because it has one negative slope and a horizontal and a quadratic look. Huh. So let's make sure we understand what's being said. Okay, so here's our negative slope right here. And remember, we're still trying to figure out what A is going to be. All right, that's our negative slope right there. We have a no slope. Anytime we have just a number, all right, make sure you guys recognize, anytime we have just a number, that's what this represents. If there's no variable, it's going to be a horizontal line. The way for you guys to remember is that we talked a lot about function or no function through the vertical line test. We're not thinking about vertical lines now. We're thinking about horizontal lines. Okay, so we know this is negative slope. We know that this is no slope. But guess what? We have something here too. This is quadratic. And a quadratic always has this shape. Upside a smiley face, or if it's a negative, if I put a negative in front here, then it would be an upside down smiley face. Pretty cool, right? All right. So this right here, all I see right here, kind of looks like this. Kind of looks like C. So if I was a betting man, and I'm not, if I wasn't a betting man, I would say that our answer probably should be this is C. All right. This would be, because we have a negative slope here and two positive slopes, this would be B. And then finally, this would be A. Let's see what the right answer is. I had it one. All right. Oh, we said solution to graph A is our third choice. All right. A. Solution to graph B is our first choice. Yep. Solution to graph, this should be C, I guess, should be our second choice. That makes sense to me, guys. All right. Now we're at a little over time. I wanted to keep this to a nice round 5-minute interval. So we're going to come back. And when we come back, we're just going to consider two additional questions. And that will be our time together. But our theme music has to play first. Yeah. Oh, there we go, our theme music. All right, and how do we say it? 30 minutes of study a day. Not in the bedroom, not in front of the TV. Put the cell phone away. 30 minutes of study a day keeps bad grades away. All right. We'll be back shortly for part 3.